Hello and welcome to our office hours presentation for today. This is your host, Paul Hoyt. Our office hours is a relaxed, informal mentoring program that we do every Monday at noon Pacific time. All these recordings, slides, and exercises are archived in our members area, and all the recordings are available on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/Paul Hoyt. The reasons we do these office hours presentations is that we know that being a successful business owner can be a great experience, but we also know that it's very tough. You need education, training, tools, and team to be successful, and we want you to get to know us, because when you get to know us, you'll know that first and most importantly, we really do care about you. We want you to be successful in every area of life, whatever that means to you. We want you to find the greatness, the happiness, the divinity within yourself, embrace it, and live it every single day. Our passion is to increase the survival rate, accelerate the growth rate, and reduce the struggle rate of businesses in America. And our vision is to help millions of CEOs and entrepreneurs accelerate their business growth and enjoy greater harmony and balance in their lives. If you find these office hours presentations beneficial to you, please pass the word. You can pass a link to the office hours presentations via social media. If you just know somebody who is a business owner like yourself or who wants to be a business owner, please alert them to the availability of, after today, 130 different office hours presentations available to them. In our office hours, we usually have an in-depth discussion of a business success principle. I offer some closing remarks, some special offers, and an invitation for next week's session. And then we have open Q&A and coaching. And the best comment or question of today wins a prize at the end of the broadcast. I'm not sure what that's going to be. Stephanie and I usually come up with it, but it's usually a nice opportunity for you to get a little value. We really encourage your participation and your interaction. So be thinking of that question or be thinking of that comment. Write it down. Grab yourself a piece of paper and a pencil or pen. Write it down so that you can interact at the end of the call. We'd sure love to have that. We'll also encourage you to join us in the Awakened CEO communities on both LinkedIn and Facebook, where we do a business success principle of the day most days on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I do an energy of the day posting every day on Facebook, and I am really kind of excited about that because today was day number 998 in a row. In 2 days, Wednesday will be the 1,000th day in a row that I've done an energy of the day posting in the morning on social media, and that really feels like a major accomplishment to me. I would encourage each and every one of you to have a daily discipline that you can do 1,000 days in a row, because it is very, very empowering to know that you've got that kind of control over your life and over your schedule. Today's topic is, oops, I got the wrong topic there. Today's topic is on the Art of Profitability, a book by Adrian Slywotzy. I'll change that when they put the slides out. We usually talk about how our topic of the day applies to one or more of the key performance areas of success. And today it's all about leadership. It's about your opportunity and your responsibility to adjust your business model so that you can make more profits. But it's really more than just about leadership. It's about many different areas within your organization. So we're going to talk about ways that you can adjust marketing strategies, product development strategies, sales strategies, and your leadership strategies in order to make more profits at your business. With the Awakened CEO system, we talk about two different areas of growth that blend together to make the Awakened CEO system. We talk about levels of performance with your mindset, your methods, and your momentum. And we talk about different focus areas with business growth, personal growth, and professional growth. And in our office hours presentation of last week, we introduced the Awakened CEO System Matrix, where we advocate that you focus on having competency and excellence in all 9 of these different cells called nonets in our matrix. Today, the presentation is going to be focused on 6 of them. We're going to be talking about the methods, mindset, and momentum in business growth, and methods, mindset, and momentum in professional growth. Today's agenda is we're going to talk a little bit about the author, Adrian Slywotzy. We'll talk about the book itself, The Art of Profitability. We'll talk about 6 different profit models that I'll go over here in a little bit, and then we're going to sum it all up to the bottom line. So first, a little bit about the author. Adrian Slywotzy got a Harvard undergraduate degree and an MBA and a law degree from Harvard, which is really kind of interesting and really kind of rare. First of all, of course, it's difficult to get into Harvard and Stanford and Princeton and Yale. They accept, just 1 or 2% of all the applicants that they have. But it's pretty rare for somebody to get their graduate degrees and their law degrees from just one of those institutions. You have to be kind of a special person in order to do that, and Adrian certainly did that. He was voted one of the top 25 consultants in 2000 and in 2008 in the United States, and he published The Art of Profitability in 2003, kind of right in the middle of all that. And it really does have a lot of great ideas, as you'll see. And of course, he's been an author of several other books as well. It seems like once we authors start writing a book, it becomes a wonderful way of expressing who we are and adding value to our marketplace. So I don't know if there's any authors out there that have just written one book. If they have, then they're working on the second one, that's for sure. So this book, The Art of Profitability, focuses on business model design elements, which is essentially how companies make money. He defined in his book 23 profitability strategies. And what I found when I read the book was, first of all, I was real excited because there's a lot of fuel for brainstorming and masterminding sessions in the book. He presents a lot of great ideas. I was a little disappointed in that they weren't organized very well, because I really like to organize things. So I thought that they weren't particularly named well, and I thought that they weren't particularly organized well. So naturally, what I did was I organized them into leadership, marketing, product development, and sales strategies, and then I renamed a lot of them, and then they got my creative juices flowing, and I defined 21 more. So after I read his 23, I said, wait a minute, there are even more ways to make money than he's talking about in his book, and I went and defined 21 more of them. And the good news is that I'm going to share those 21 with you in a document that you can download off of our website after today's session. So let's take a look at his different 6 of the 23 profit models that he defined that we're going to talk about in a little more detail today. First of all was switchboard profit, then there's pyramid profit, specialist profit, point of sale profit, multi-component profit, and profit multiplier model or profit multiplier profit. As you'll see in a minute, I don't like the names of almost any of these, but we're going to explain them to you so that you'll understand them, so that you'll be able to consider and brainstorm whether or not this is something that you can put into your business. First of all, let's go to switchboard profits. This is named after, a long, long time ago when telephone systems were first coming up in the United States. They actually had operators that had physical switchboards, and they would plug a wire into your slot and then plug a wire into another slot, and they would physically make the connection so that you could complete the call in between you and a store or in between you and one of your neighbors. That process was not automated, and there was a switchboard and somebody sitting at the switchboard who actually had to make the connection for you. Later on, they got rotary dial and then digital dial phone systems in. But that's where this comes from, with having an actual switchboard. I call it connector profits. And essentially, connector profits is very simple. That's where you connect a buyer and a seller, and you take a part of the transaction, that you somehow enjoy some of the money that is being exchanged in between the buyer and the seller for making the connection in the first place, and in many cases for actually facilitating the transaction. So here's some examples. A good example is a real estate agent. So a real estate agent connects the buyer with the seller. They're neither the buyer nor the seller. They're not buying the house. They're not selling the house, but they are connecting the buyers and the sellers, and they are facilitating the transaction. They are encouraging the seller to accept an offer perhaps that the buyer has made. They are encouraging a buyer to look at all of the positive aspects of purchasing a piece of property. They'll encourage them to think that you can fix this, you can repaint that, we can remodel that, while trying to keep their attention on the positive aspects, while of course their mind is running through all of the reasons that this perhaps wouldn't be a good investment or maybe not the ideal property for them. So with the connector process, it's really kind of a connector facilitator model, where you connect buyer and seller and you facilitate the transaction by encouraging both parties to complete the transaction. Another example would be a manufacturer's rep. A manufacturer's rep is an independent salesperson that typically works for many different companies at the same time. So for example, they might sell belts and hoses and screws and washers and those kinds of things. So in the old days, a manufacturer's rep would go around from business to business, jump in their car, and drive around to all of the different accounts they had and represent, 5 or 6 different companies. And they called that their line card, which is the product lines that they were representing at that point in time. And whenever they facilitated a sale in between the manufacturer and the company that was purchasing the product, they would take some portion of that revenue. If a manufacturer's rep would sell directly to an end user, they take a much larger portion of it. But if they're selling it to a distributor, for example, if you're bringing a consumer product to market and you want to land in boutique department stores around the United States, you might engage the services of a manufacturer's rep to introduce you to those retailers who then would buy from you at wholesale. When they facilitate the wholesale relationship, they typically take 10 to 15% of the revenue that exchanges hands, which is 10 to 15% of the wholesale price, which is typically 5 to 7% of the retail price, for facilitating the relationship between the manufacturer and the distributor. Catalogs is another great example of switchboard profits. So catalogs have a database or a long list of potential customers, of people they are sending the catalog to, and they've got a lot of products that they're representing in the catalog. They're not buying the products and stocking them, so they don't become a distributor, and they're not manufacturing the products, but they're facilitating the relationship between buyer and seller, and they're taking a sometimes very significant portion of that relationship. Sometimes it's only 5 or 10%, sometimes it's 30%. I've seen some catalogs that work, as if they were stocking the products themselves, and they take 50% of the revenue that exchanges hands. Another example of the switchboard profits is eBay. So eBay, formed 15 years ago or so. They specialize in allowing people to sell products, first of all, at auction. Now it's like you can sell products and you won't even have to have an auction associated with that. But they specialized in that. And since they facilitated the connection between buyer and seller, and they facilitated the exchange of money, they made money in that by being a great connector, by being a facilitator of the sale. Insurance agents, all kinds of agents, brokers are another great way of having switchboard or connector profits. There's a lot of different ways to make money whenever you can connect people in your network to people who sell products and services and facilitate that transaction. The next one of the type of profit models that he talks about in his book is pyramid profit. Pyramid profit I call the product funnel, which is where you sell products with varying price points. He calls it pyramid products because you start out with a big, strong base of a whole bunch of people buying a low dollar priced product, and then fewer people buying the higher priced one, and fewer people buying the price even higher than that, until you get to very few people indeed who buy the highest priced product that you have. So here's an example. We might give away some free products to entice people to do business with us, or give us their name and email address to add to our list, or names and telephone numbers, or names and addresses. We give away things so that we can establish that relationship in the first place. Then we offer a product or a service for $100. If they buy that, we offer a $1,000 product. If they buy that, we offer a $10,000 product. We allow people to engage with us at whatever level they are comfortable with, and whatever level they see the ultimate value back to their company, or to them personally. The tradition, by the way, has been in the past to where we offer a low dollar product and then a little higher and then a little higher. But what we're seeing today is people do a reverse pyramid model where they offer the highest dollar priced product or service to start off with, and then, oh, if that one's not quite right for you, maybe you don't need all that, we'll take away and offer something for less price, and then take away until we find the comfort level. By the way, the logic behind that is that you're going to sell more of your higher priced product if you lead with that in the first place. So that may be a strategy that you want to do. Here, by the way, at our company, we choose to start out with low priced products and then work up from there, because we don't want to prey on the trust and the ignorance of people that we engage with. We work with a lot of people who are just starting their business, and frankly, some people who are just starting their business will buy whatever somebody who's in a position of authority tells them to buy, and we don't want to do that until we're absolutely sure that that's exactly right for your business. Just a word on the product funnel concept out there. The third type of profit model that Mr. Slywotzy talks about in his book is the specialist profit. That's where you work very hard to become a recognized expert, hopefully with an absolute unique capability, which significantly reduces your marketing fees, because you don't have to build credibility, and in many cases you don't have to build brand awareness, and because you're seen as a unique commodity in the marketplace, you can enjoy a lot higher prices. As it turns out with marketing, a lot of marketing dollars are spent building brand awareness. A lot of marketing dollars are spent building credibility. And if instead you can put yourself out in the audience or out in the marketplace as a specialist, then you don't have to spend near the money on marketing that you would have to spend upon otherwise than that. Here's some examples of specialist profit. So Seth Godin is a very good example of a specialist profit. Seth has hundreds of thousands of people on his database, in his list. He publishes a blog every single day. He writes books. He is absolutely seen as a specialist. Seth doesn't have to market anymore except for simply to tell people that he's coming out with a new book or has a new product or has the opportunity for that to see him in person. He just simply puts the notice on his blog. He knows that several 100,000 people are going to read that. I think at the last book that he published, which I can't remember the last one of them was called The Linchpin. And when he published The Linchpin, I think he sold 200,000 copies of that book before the book was even published, because he was seen as such a specialist and such a recognized expert in his marketplace. By the way, and he is a brilliant marketer, so if you haven't signed up for his blog yet, I encourage you to do so. Another one that you might think of is Oprah Winfrey, and a third one is Michael Phelps. Well, with Oprah Winfrey and Michael Phelps, they both have a really high entertainment or celebrity value in the marketplace. If you want to have Oprah on your stage, you can expect to spend a lot of money for that. And Michael Phelps just landed his 23rd gold medal and 30 medals overall in swimming in the Olympics. I honestly think he's going to come back and go for number 31 or 32. He says he's retired, but hey, he said that 4 years ago too. Either one of those people, if you want to hire them, they're seen as an absolute specialist. They have a unique position in the marketplace that has given them incredible brand awareness, so they can captivate much higher fees. If Michael Phelps decides to be an inspirational, motivational speaker, talking about how he worked so hard to win those first models, how he turned his life around after he was arrested for DUI a couple of times, how he came back and stepped into being a true leader of the Olympic swim team in this past week or so, he has an incredible opportunity to do that. And if I were his consultant, I would absolutely encourage him to develop an inspirational speech, a motivational speech, and leverage the specialist profit that is literally just waiting for him. Another type of profit is called point of sale profit. Well, he calls it point of sale profit. I call it cross-sell profit and upsell profit. So typically with point of sale profit, especially if this is your primary business model, you'll have a low bait product or a low base bait product, and then you try to sell more of the same product or complementary products and services at the point of sale. Whenever you're selling more of the same product, that's called upsell profit, and whenever you're selling complementary products, that's called cross-sell product. So here's some examples. Infomercial operators are the leading example for that. So you'll notice when you watch infomercials on TV that they do not tell you to go to a website and buy this product. Instead, they tell you to call this 800 number or 888 number or 877 number. Call this toll-free number to talk to our operators because operators are standing by. The reason they want you to do that is because when you engage in a conversation with the operator, or who is really a telesales specialist, they are going to try to upsell you. They're going to try to cross-sell you. Their job is not just to take the order. Their job is to upsell you into the higher priced order. So you may be able to get 2 of your widgets for $19.95, but when you call them, they're going to offer to sell you the convenient tote bag. They're going to offer to upgrade that. You throw in a 3rd and a 4th item for just a few dollars more because, hey, wouldn't it make a great gift for grandma or grandpa? They're, in fact, heavily incentivized to do that upsell profit and that cross-sell profit at the point of sale. And that's why infomercials don't send you to a website to complete the order. They want you to engage in a conversation with somebody who's going to tell you what a great move that you made, how smart you were for buying this product, and oh, by the way, we've got a special offer for those who just called in today, and here's that offer. It is a classic sales strategy to sell more at the point of sale. Another way that we see that in business today is through automobile options. So I've bought 6 or 8 or 10 cars in my life, and invariably when you buy a new car, not necessarily when you buy a used car, but when you buy a new car, they want to sell you the floor mats. They want to upgrade you to the higher audio system, the higher quality audio system. They want you to have seats that are electronically heated. They want to have a seat that's got will massage your back while you're going down the road. They wanted all kinds of options, rust protection, paint protection, all kinds of things, because they know that once you have made the decision to purchase their product, it is fairly easy for them to upgrade you to sell more of that, to do that upsell. And it's kind of a combination upsell, cross-sell. So they're upping the quality of the product by selling you complementary products and services. And by the way, the profit margins on the floor mats and the upgraded audio system and the heated electric seats are much greater than they are on the regular car themselves. So they will make a significant amount of their profits at the automobile dealership by selling you these upgrades than they did on the original cars. A third example of point of sale profit is Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is one of the most successful banking institutions in the world. In fact, they're one of the top 10 companies that was listed in Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. And one of the reasons they became a very profitable company is they took all of their bank tellers and all of the people who were loan officers and all of the people who worked in the bank and turned them into sales representatives. In fact, if you go into a Wells Fargo bank, and there are my bank of choice, so I go into a Wells Fargo bank periodically, every time that you make a deposit, every time that you go to get a little cash, every time that you engage with a seller at all, they will always ask you if you've considered a home equity loan, or if you want a business line of credit, or if you've heard about their new CDs, or if you heard about some sort of financial instruments, because they are trained and they are incentivized and they are required to ask you about that. It is a great example of upsell profit or cross-sell profit, and they're not even doing it at the point of sale, they're doing it at the point of service. So this point of sale profit model can also extend to point of service profit, where when you're engaging with somebody, you can ask them to do business with you in some other way. You know, in my core training book, audio product, the Awaken CEO Foundations course, I talk about this a lot, about how asking for referrals and asking to see if somebody wants to purchase some more of your stuff is a classic example of excellence in customer service. Next example is what he calls the multi-component profit, which I think is not named very well. I call it value-based pricing product. And that means that you'd have a tiered pricing model where you essentially charge larger companies more, or those companies that consume more of your product or service, you charge them more because they're getting more value out of that product or service. Here's some examples of that. First example is a chamber of commerce. It's been on my pleasure to be on the board of directors of a couple of chambers of commerce, and we always had a tiered pricing model. So if you had 5 or fewer employees, your annual membership might be $500. If you had between 5 and 20 employees, it might be $750. If you had between 20 and 50 employees, it might be $1,000 a year. And if it's more than 50 employees, it might be $2,000 or $2,500 a year. The reason we did that was a couple of reasons. Number one is the assumption being that larger companies were getting more value out of their membership in the Chamber of Commerce. They could send more people to the events. They had more people becoming aware of all of the information that was coming out of the Chamber of Commerce, etc. We believed that they got more value and therefore felt very comfortable charging them more value. We also wanted the very small companies to be able to engage with the Chamber of Commerce in hopes that they would become larger companies. So we had a tiered-based pricing model whereby the larger companies, in essence, subsidized the membership of the smaller companies. Same thing happens with trade organizations. If you join a trade organization, many of them have this tiered-based pricing model. So companies with revenues less than $1 million pay X for their membership fees. In between $1 million and $10 million, it's 2X. And over $10 million, it might be 5X, etc. Again, the logic is exactly the same. The larger companies are getting more value from their membership in our trade organization and thereby should feel very comfortable about paying more of a membership fee. Final example of that is user-based pricing. I used to be in the software industry, and we would sell our software based upon the number of seats that you had or the number of users that were using the products. So if you had a five user license, would cost you a lot less than a 25 user license or a 100 user license or an unlimited user license. So we had exactly the same products, but we did value-based pricing so that we could get more money from those companies who in essence consumed more of the product or got more value of the product. And this is another very, very classic pricing model. We'll also see, by the way, companies, I've seen coaches do this very openly, that says that if you're earning more than $1 million a year in revenue, your price is $500 an hour. If you're earning between $500,000 and $1 million, your price is $400 an hour. If you're earning between $250,000 and $500,000 a year, the price is $300 an hour. And essentially, those higher revenue making companies are subsidizing the participation in the coaching program from those companies who are not making near that much money. Another one of our examples today is what he calls profit multiplier model. I call it asset leverage profit, and it simply means that we're going to use our foundational technology in multiple products, and we're going to design products for different markets. So here's some examples of it. A good example is Honda engines. So Honda makes motorcycles, Honda makes automobiles, Honda makes leaf blowers, Honda makes generators, Honda makes all kinds of things. They've leveraged their excellence and their expertise in engine manufacturing capability into a lot of different products and a lot of different product lines. So they make small engines, they make medium engines, they make really, really large engines, engines that go into huge industrial machinery, in addition to engines that go into automobiles and trucks. So they have leveraged their basic technology and multiplied their profits by taking that technology and pushing it out to different products and in different industries and different product lines. Sony Electronics does the same thing. Sony is known for their electronics, and they take their expertise and their brand awareness in electronics and put it in a lot of different ways. They have consumer products like television sets, they have gaming systems, they've got all kinds of electronic systems where they've leveraged their basic capability of designing and manufacturing high-quality electronic components and leverage that into a lot of different marketplace. For us here at Hoyt Management Group, and for you if you are a coach or a generator of content in any way, you can reuse that content. You can take articles that you've created and make them into a book. You can take office hours presentations like we're doing and leveraging that into a paid model of some kind. So anytime that you reuse content, anytime that you leverage your basic capability of your company into designing multiple products at multiple price points and pushing those out to multiple industries and multiple product lines, you are using a classic example of profit multiplier profit or asset leverage profit. So here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that there are a lot of ways to make money. There are sales strategies that you can use, product development strategies you can use, marketing and pricing strategies you can use, and leadership strategies that you can use. Your opportunity is to pick a few of these products, few of these models, and then focus in on them. We talked earlier about mindset, methods, and momentum, and here's what I want you to think and feel when it comes to your opportunities to make more money in leveraging the content that we've presented to you today. First of all, from a mindset perspective, I want you to believe that there are a lot of profit opportunities just waiting for you to discover. I want you to believe that you can learn how to make more money, and I want you to believe that you can change your business model and realize greater profits. From a methods point of view, I want you to study the different profitability models and then brainstorm and analyze them and create a plan to implement them in your business. And then to get into momentum, I want you to follow the plans that you have created. I want you to put your new ideas into actions, make adjustments to your current business model, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. That's been our agenda for today. We talked a little bit about the author, Adrian Slywotzy. We talked about the book. We talked about 6 different profit models that he introduced in his book and summed it all up to the bottom line and hopefully gave you a little inspiration to focus your beliefs, your mindset, to create your plans and then get into action, into taking these great ideas and increasing the profits at your business. Here's what I want you to do. Think about your business model and understand your current profitability strategy. In other words, how are you making money today? Get the book and read it if you really like what I had to say. I always say that whenever I talk about a book. I want you to go buy the book and honor the author of the book by purchasing their fine product. And then add 1 or 2 additional strategies to your business model this year and then continue to do it over time. And of course, if you need help or support, get a mentor or coach to help you in doing that. There are a few related office hours presentations. Pricing strategies, number 74. Number 103 was on how to be a great leader. I did talk a little bit about customer service and asking for referrals and additional product sales at the point of service. So that would be like office hours number 108, I believe. was, or 109 was being great at customer service. And then next week, in office hours number 131, we're going to talk some more about the art of profitability. So next week, if you enjoyed today's broadcast, you're really going to love next week. We're going to get into more of the profit models that Mr. Slywotzy defined in his book, and a few of the ones that I defined after having read his book. In just a minute, we're going to go into open Q&A and coaching, where we invite you to have comments and questions on the topic of the day, and then anything else you want to talk about. I'd really like to hear what your biggest takeaways are and what you're going to focus on for this next week or so until we meet again. Here at the Hoyt Management Group, we have a wide variety of support services. In some cases, we teach you how to do it for yourself. In many cases, we do it with you. We help you create your business plans, your financial models, your product funnels, your strategic plans, etc. And in some cases, we'll actually do it for you. We have CFO and COO services. We can generate sales scripts for you and with you as well. Our support systems then include business growth systems, professional or personal growth systems, and the new systems that we introduced last week, the Awaken CEO system for integrated growth, where we have got some new products coming out around that, where we help you focus every single day on your ability to grow your business, to grow yourself professionally, and to grow yourself personally at the same time. Our next office hours will be on August 22nd, next Monday, where we're going to talk about the Art of Profitability 2. Let me know what you would like for me to talk about by going to paulsurvey.com and filling out a brief survey there if you've got some ideas for us. And in between now and the time we meet next week, just do your homework. With that, we're going to open it up for questions. First, comments and questions on the topic of the day, then any other issues that you might want us to address. And a reminder that the best comment or question of the day wins a prize. So with that, Stephanie, do we have anybody with their hands up or any questions for today?
Yep, we do. Let's get started. First one.
If you are there, darling, I cannot hear you.
I am right here. Can you hear me?
I may have a connection issue with Stephanie and not being able to hear her. Stephanie, if you can hear me, go ahead and type into the line, which would be great. If not, I will look on our web page and see if I can't find a couple of the questions that have come in ahead of time. Here she's getting, oops, hold on, maybe a Skype. She's talking, okay, but we can't hear her. She has had some audio problems earlier in the day. So Stephanie will not be joining us via audio. I assure you she is there in the background because she just sent me a nice little Skype thing. So I'm going to invite her to share with me some of those questions for herself. So here's one that I have. Here's a question that came through that says, I'm still a little confused over the term business model design elements. Can you explain that a little bit more? Yeah, I can. I think that is a little bit of a confusing term. So let's see if I can't explain that in a little more simpler terms. So the bottom line is there are a lot of different ways that companies make money. At the high level, we sell a product or service and we deliver a product or service. But there's a lot of different ways to design these products and services. There's a lot of different ways to price the products and services. There's a lot of different ways to bring those products, services to market. There's a lot of different ways to sell our products and services. You know, for example, are we going to sell them through direct sales, direct face-to-face contact, or are we going to sell them in some other way? Are we going to have routes to market that includes catalogs or home shopping network or boutique department stores or big box stores? There's a lot of different ways to bring our products and services to market. And all of those different choices that we make, you know, how we design our product and price the product and what markets we want to serve, how we sell our products and bring them to market, each one of those is a business model design element. Your business model then is how you blend all of those things together. That becomes your unique business model of what products and services you're going to offer, what markets you offer them to, how you're going to reach that market, how you're going to sell to that market, how you're going to price your products, how you're going to develop your packages and package your products and services. All of those are business model design elements. And your responsibility as a leader of your company is to create an effective and profitable business model, one that allows you to be profitable, one that allows you to create a sustainable business, and in most cases, one that allows your business to be scalable over time. Hopefully that was good for you and you recognize that. And Stephanie and I are communicating over Skype, so if she has any other questions that have come through, that will be great. We'll put one out there. And if any of you want to raise your hand and put it out there and speak to us interactively, we'd love for you to have that conversation as well. Or you can actually type into the chat window in addition to raising your hand. Here's another question that has just come through. What about focusing on my customers and working to increase their lifetime value to me? Is that a variation on a business model? The answer is absolutely yes. And in fact, that's one of Mr. Slywotzy's original 23 business model design components. I think he calls it installed base profit, where we focus on selling more and more to our installed base over time. Annuity profit would be another one, or membership model profit would be a variation on that, where we leverage the relationship we have with our existing customer base to sell more of the same stuff over time or more different things over time to our installed base. That is a great question, and that's absolutely, by the way, one of the components, one of the business model design elements that I'd recommend that almost every company have, is a plan to sell more to their existing customer base. Common sense or common knowledge has it that companies typically sell 88% of what they sell to their existing customer base, and is far less costly to sell something to an existing customer than it is to acquire a brand new customer. So that is a great question and a good example of some of the stuff that we didn't talk about today, some of those business model design elements that we were not able to talk about. Next question for us. It sounds like anybody can use the switchboard model. Is that true? And can I do it without having an actual business? That is a great question, and the answer is yes. So yes, anybody can use the switchboard model, and you don't really even have to have a business to use the switchboard model. Here's an example. Let's say that I got up a website and I'm just putting blogs out on the website, and I don't really consider it to be a business. If I can allow Google to put AdWords in a sidebar on my website, or if I can have an affiliate link from somebody who I know and trust, I'm leveraging the connections I have, which are the people who are coming to my website, and connecting them in some way to the products and services that they might want to purchase, and I'm enjoying some sort of reward for that, some sort of percent of the value that comes out of that I'm getting. If it's an affiliate model, I might get 10, 15, 20, even 50% of the sale that happens. If it's an AdWords, Google AdWords model, I might get a portion of the revenue that Google enjoys for somebody clicking on an ad that I allowed them to put in the sidebar of my website. So those are two great examples about how you can implement connector profits or switchboard profits in your life and in your business without even having a business in the first place. So you can certainly do that. And in fact, everybody can implement connector profits into their life, because we all have a different body of people that we work with and we know about. And if we just keep our eyes and ears open and we establish the relationships with the suppliers ahead of time, you may be able to find an opportunity to say, hey, you need to get your car fixed? You should go to Joe's car shop because he's really good. I use him all the time. And hey, here's a discount code that you can use to get 10% off your next car service. What a great opportunity it is for you to leverage your existing connection with your customer base or your friendship network and the suppliers on the other end. So yes, you can absolutely do that. And here we got one question coming in from Jim, I'm going to take you off of mute if you don't mind, and I'm going to invite you to ask that question yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, well, now that I've passed through, yes, I have. Can you hear me?
Jim, I don't know if you're speaking or not. If you are, then I've got a problem with the speakers on my system because I cannot hear you. In which case, I'm just going to go ahead and read the question as best I possibly can. Is it best to apply on first dollars first and then sequence to grow? Oh, you can hear Stephanie too, so the problem is on my end. Oh, let's see. Somebody say something out there and see if I can hear you now.
Hello, Paul. This is Jim.
I cannot, Paul. So my speakers are screwed. I'm sorry about that. I apologize that I cannot hear you, and there you are speaking. I'm not quite sure what to do about that, but I don't know that there's anything I can do about that. So I will continue on the course and invite people to communicate with me via the via the chat log if you can. So let me see if I can make sense of this. Using a timeline that matches costs to grow, can't grow too fast for the cash flow, fueling the use of funds both to fund what you do and get the dollars in. And don't overthink it early, and that growth is a process. Here's what I think that you are saying, Jim, and that is we simply can't implement all of these strategies at once. And that's absolutely true. We have to pick what we consider to be the low-hanging fruit and then implement that in our business, and then pick another strategy, and then pick another strategy. So every business should have core business model design elements that allow them to make a profit, and then you can implement other profit strategies as you grow. I think that I got it on that. So yes, I see you typing that in. Thank you very much. So yeah, that's it. With your one of the challenges that I see a lot of businesses have is that they design too complex of a business model to start off with. Some companies, by the way, are much more complex than other companies. For example, if you're bringing a consumer product to market, that is far more complex than having a coaching or consulting business, because you have product design elements, you might have patent elements and legal requirements. It generally costs a lot more to develop prototypes and line up low volume and high volume manufacturing resources. I don't think it's possible to bring a consumer product to market these days at any scale at all without an investment of about $500,000. Well, it's certainly possible to put out a coaching or a consulting business for far, far less than that. You can start a coaching or a consulting business with a few $100s, not $500,000. So there are businesses that have a lot of complexity built into them at the very beginning just on the basis of the business model itself. But some of the businesses are, but if you don't have that natural complexity in your business, I encourage you to start out with a fairly simple business model. We're going to go to one market. We're going to introduce one or two products to a single market. We're going to have just one or two or three different strategies on how to reach that market. And once we've established a beachhead, and especially once we have established financial stability, then we're going to increase, and then we're going to introduce different business model design elements into our company to leverage the connections that we've developed, to leverage the content that we have, to leverage the expertise that we have, and bring products and services to market in a new and different way. So great comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate that comment. And Stephanie, I know I cannot hear you, and I apologize for that. Other people can. If you've got another question for me, I encourage you to type that into the chat log, because we'll fix this problem before we get to our office hours presentation for next week about you not being able to hear me. Oops, Stephanie, is that you? I thought I heard something there. Almost something, but I guess I didn't. Anyway, so Jim, I put you back on mute. Mute Stephanie. If you have any other questions, I'll invite you to type them into the chat log. Otherwise, I'll just remind people that here at the Hoyt Management Group, we do have a wide variety of support programs for business growth and for personal growth, and for the blend in between business growth, professional growth, and personal growth. We'd love to talk to you about what you want to accomplish in the next 90 days and see if we can support you in doing that, because we get just a lot of personal satisfaction and enjoyment about helping our clients, our customers, our friends, and every one of our clients becomes one of our friends, achieve what they want to achieve in the next 90 days. And I don't see any comments coming through, so I'm going to assume that is the end of the presentation. And Jim, we're going to honor you for your fine question today about how do we apply the business model design elements. Give me a call and we'll figure out what an appropriate reward is for you, because I'd love to honor you for your participation in today's call in some way that makes good sense to you. And all of the rest of you, please join us next week. Next week we're going to talk about more business model design elements. We're going to talk about in our presentation on the Art of Profitability 2. I want to thank everybody who joined us both online and over the telephone today, and for those of you who are watching the recording. And until we meet again, this is Stephanie May and Paul Hoyt wishing you a most marvelous and prosperous day. Bye-bye.